Williams comes in once a month just to get you up to speed on what's going on in the world, the litigation world, if you want to call it. And as it relates to sports, we was talking off air that there's a ruling by the NIAI that came down yesterday or recently that caught a lot of people interest, if you will. Greg, first of all, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
What's going on? GRW Law.
May it please the court.
Yeah. So
It shall.
yeah, that's right. So give us some insight to the ruling that went down on yesterday.
Well, as you know, now we've just completed a very successful college basketball season. The women's national championship game drew the largest audience for a basketball game.
I saw that.
I think ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you caught Coach Staley, Pastor Staley, Sister Staley's press conference,
she been preaching,
right? Prophetess Staley.
Yeah, you got to call everything when the pressure on.
Right. Call her champ. But during her press conference, she was asked about transgender participation in women's athletics, and her response kind of drew a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
That she stated that she thought they should be able to participate. They being transgender athletes.
Mm-hmm.
In contrast to that, the NAIA
Not so fast.
right. The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics just banned transgender participation in women's athletics, opting for, as it relates to women's athletics, sex at birth. So that's it was a 20-0 vote. So you're going to see this kind of progress through the legal channels. There's obviously going to be a Title IX response to this. There's going to be litigation.
That's going to be interesting when you say that, because I'm trying to see how that's going to land on people when you say Title IX, because it's a little kind of opposite of what Title IX.
The spirit of Title IX.
Yeah, the spirit of Title IX. So
right.
So I'm really curious to see how that's going to fall. I'm really curious about that. Yeah.
And actually, there's a federal lawsuit recently filed by a dozen or so current and former athletes suing the NCAA for allowing participation in women's sports for transgender athletes, citing the unfair advantage. You know, there's the issue with the swimmer that's kind of breaking all the records.
Yeah.
But used to be a male that's transformed into a female. So it's going to play itself out through the legal channels, and it may take a Supreme Court ruling at some point for there to be a resolution.
I was going to say, so it comes under, if you can expound on this, fair and safe competition.
Correct.
For all students.
Correct.
So transgender, and I'm playing against you, then it might be unsafe.
Right. I mean, because there's speed and strength differences between the sexes, and that's kind of the basis of this rule. That sports requiring a combination of speed, stamina, and strength will be limited to birth at sex or sex at birth. For those reasons that you're kind of
right. And currently it says that so it could go in effect as early as this August.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
Wow. Yeah, you let that sink on you for a little while. That's kind of interesting there.
Yeah. Now, and contrary, for male sports, it's kind of open season.
What do you mean by that?
So transgender athletes can compete in male sports, but they just can't transfer and then compete in women's sports in college.
So in male sports, if you're man enough, come on.
What?
No pun intended.
Yeah. That's basically how they say,
Correct.
Okay. Which I can see that. I mean, when you say you change from a male to a female, I mean, I get the hormone replacements and all, but you still have the body makeup of a male.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and currently they have to. The NCAA policy is there has to be a year of hormone suppression, and then you kind of have to test to make sure that the levels are where they're supposed to be. But like you said,
so can we use performance enhancing drugs now too? I mean, that's not considered a performance enhancer?
Well, I guess testosterone would be.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, would
be the enhancer.
Yeah. So I'm just
puberty and testosterone.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you we do all this drug testing, we do all of these things, and then we,
Right.
now we're here. But it was 20 to nothing.
20 to nothing.
Ruling.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they pretty much.
Yeah, they're saying that.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to come for us.
Yeah, they're in lockstep. They're in lockstep on that one. They're 20 to nothing.
Yeah, and you also have to think a lot of the NAIA schools are they have some Christian church affiliation, so that plays a role in it as well. But I think we'll see this resolved through the courts at some point. Another thing that's kind of been moving through the system is the transfer rule with the NCAA.
All right, let's talk about that. 'Cause, a lot of attention's around it. Bobby Hurley talked about that. I mean, Danny Hurley, talked about that in his post speech last night about the transfer portal and things of that nature.
Right. Well, you got the transfer portal.
Portal, you got a transfer rule.
Right.
So
correct.
explain the difference.
So the portal is where players can go in and transfer. The transfer rule used to limit the number of times they could transfer and be eligible to compete immediately. So you can remember our receiver from Carolina got jammed up with that.
Yeah, Tez.
Taz, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So it took litigation, a preliminary injunction, to kind of resolve that situation. In January, a court ruled against the NCAA, saying that the limitation on competition, it was a violation of antitrust rules.
Yeah.
So now players there's no limit, to the number of times they can transfer, and they can also transfer twice and be able to compete immediately.
There's no limit.
Well, there's a window where they can transfer twice
Uh-huh.
and be eligible to compete immediately.
Right.
But they could then still transfer multiple times.
But they have
would
to
be
pay a penalty?
Well, they would have to sit out.
Yeah, which is a penalty.
Right,
Well,
correct.
Okay.
So-
correct. All right.
There's no mid-year transfers, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you said something that I think is probably going to carry on to a couple of other areas. You said they ruled it would be a violation of antitrust rules.
Correct.
So real quickly, just dive into the violation of antitrust rules when it comes to the NCAA. Like, that's pretty big when it comes to saying, okay, you're in violation of antitrust, because that goes into the unionization and a couple of other things. So talk about that a little bit.
Correct. So the U.S. Department of Justice actually joined this lawsuit against the
DOJ?
NCAA. Yeah.
The boys. Snyder about them.
The boys.
Dan Snyder.
They'll get you. You can ask a whole lot of people.
Right.
Could
Right.
be running for president, baby.
They don't lose.
I'm just saying, you're going to take a L.
When I tell you about the three-letter organization.
Them alphabet boys, they don't play.
I know, that's right.
They don't play. So, I think they're joining the lawsuit is kind of what backed the NCAA down.
Mm-hmm.
They actually entered into a consent agreement that expires at the end of this year. So that's kind of prompting them to come back now to pass this law, not law, but policy
yeah.
at their next meeting, which is April 17th and 18th. So that's when that policy would change. So a lot of things have happened recently where you see freedom for college athletics or college athletes, freedom to earn, freedom to transfer, freedom to move around and apply their trade and actually receive full market value for their services. So it's a new day.
So anytime you collude to prevent that,
Then that's
Boom.
there you go. So
You know
anytime,
what it is.
yeah. So anytime someone says, "Oh, look, they're stopping me from doing this and this and this," but if they did that now, I mean, how are you gonna let them do that? You can't let them collectively decide that we can't move, because that's basically what they're doing.
That's exactly what they're doing. And at the same time, there's no limitations on coaches moving.
Right.
The coach that recruited me here, he came in 3 years ago.
right.
But then before they would say, because you're not an employee.
Right. He got a new
But then
job.
Now
He's
they don't
gone.
want to go through that. They don't want to go
No,
through
they
that
don't.
conversation.
Exactly.
They don't want to have that conversation.
They don't want to have that conversation. So that's kind of where that is. So next year you'll be able to see guys be able to transfer twice and be eligible to compete immediately without having to sit out. So
That's interesting.
yeah. So we're get ready to have a meet and greet every year
No.
Yeah.
for your team.
Don't make your player mad because
Right.
they're going to go.
This is
leave.
interesting. So this is fairly new. It's a new.
Oh yeah. This
Okay.
was the ruling came down in January.
So nobody's been talking about that law. It's
Yeah.
been that with, and this is totally different than the transfer portal, is what you said.
Correct. Well, It is. It's kind of a function of the transfer portal. It determines how many times you can go in the portal and whether or not you have to sit out that second year, the second time you transfer.
Yeah.
So essentially it's going to make the transfer portal easier to navigate for players, or at least to jump in and jump out.
That's unbelievable. Okay.
Did you say twice a year? That's what you said, right? Is that what you said?
He said twice.
Twice. Okay.
Yeah. If you transfer mid-year, you have to sit out until you can't transfer mid-season and compete in that same season.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but you can move multiple schools without having to sit out.
In other words, I can't start playing at Duke beginning of the season, then be playing at Carolina. If Rick can go to Carolina and play the end of the season,
you gotta wait.
I gotta wait for that.
You gotta wait a season to ruin senior night.
Nice.
I do like it for the red shirts, though. For the red shirts and high school athletes that would come in and it's just not a fit. It's just not going to work. And they say, well, we're going to red shirt you. Oh, before you do that, I'm going to transfer. And then I can use my red shirt over here. I can use my red shirt over here where
that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Where I can actually get 5 years where I want to be, because this is not going to work for us.
Right. That's a great point.
Right. That's a great use of it.
Yeah, which adds another layer to the portal and how it's going to function going forward.
Because there's a lot of times that works. I mean, that's the way it works in high school. You come in and you think you'll get playing time, and the coach recruited 2 guys on top of you and got transferred in. You're not playing at all. And then they hit you with so that ankle, how's that ankle doing? And now it's time to red shirt, right? And you're like, wait a minute, that means I'm going to be stuck in it? I tell you what, let me just transfer, because coach from Tennessee still calling me,
right?
From back when I was in high school, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer over there. So.
Right.
Well, maybe he's still calling you, because one of the problems now with the transfer portal is high school, some of them are being overlooked because they're going deeper and going older and more experienced. So that may not. There's still a problem for the high school.
Oh no, they see.
I was actually going to say that, because now if you're a coach, a lot of the coaches are opting for experience. You have a guy that's played 1 to 2 years in college.
Yeah,
you're going to go with him. He's already proven what he can do at the collegiate level versus a marginal high school player, or even an exceptional high school player. But so the portal it has a lot of unintended consequences. One of them is high school seniors. Their ability to have access to scholarships.
Wow. We rock with Gregory R. Williams. We do rock with him each and every month, once a month, and give you some insight. And I know finally we're going to close out with a thing that jumped off here in North Carolina, March 11th, and I've been making a couple of dollars betting on sports here in North Carolina. But overall,
go to BetMGM.
I know, go to Bet. We got a couple of minutes real quickly to talk about some of the things that are going on, some proposals that may be changing how we bet.
Yeah, so the prop bets are the ones that are gaining all the attention.
Yeah, right.
So look for some type of litigation, some type of legal action as it relates to prop bets or policy changes.
For example, prop bet is I don't know, Newton for Connecticut. A prop bet, he's going to score more than 25 points a game.
Correct.
In that particular game last night.
Yeah, so you can bet on an individual player being over under a certain point total, rebound total, steals, a score, things of that nature. So everybody's making these bets based on individual performance, and then when the player doesn't meet that number, or maybe he gets more, he hits the over, but the bets were under. You have fans that are actually attacking players.
Well, you look at that one right there. Because she with that. Who's the player you with that, Pam? Who's that player you with that? Who was it?
DJ.
What are you talking about?
Okay, Baby Joy. It was Baby Joy. But
you have a right to plead the fifth.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Get my lawyer said.
Right.
She won't listen.
Yeah. Anything you say can will be held against.
So what do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to?
Yeah. So the NCAA is calling for bans on prop bets, and actually 12 states have banned prop bets already. 38, we're the 38th. North Carolina allow it. So there will be something coming down the pipe with that, and you're on the ugly side. You'll probably see some negative things, some attacks. Coaches have received death threats, and their families have been threatened.
See, that's crazy.
Players, DJ, RJ and Baycott received a lot of threats because of the game. So,
Hey, Greg, appreciate you, man.
As always.
Great stuff, man. I can't wait till next month. You can bring